My dad.
For me, it'd probably be my dad.
Probably my dad.
My pops always had guitars laying around the house, and I didn't have nothing else to do. I was grounded all the time, so.
Dad, Matt, walked over and said, "Hey, do you want to learn bass?" And said, "Yeah." And basically been playing live music ever since.
Definitely my dad. He played drums most of his life, and I wanted to play drums like him. And he listened to the coolest music. So
He played in bands when I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, so I kind of grew up around the environment of it, and I don't know, pretty much that. And I like how music can help with like stressful days and just relax you and stuff. So helps with the different moods.
Growing up, he played in a lot of bands, and I just always thought that would be awesome, so that's what I did.
Playing music with my dad growing up, and then I found my own way in the heavy world when I met Jared in college.
I think I grew up listening to music with my family, and so that's always been part of my life. I think what really got me into playing, actually picking up an instrument, was discovering, like live concert experience, and then, some of my favorite bands like Coheed and Cambria, and Papa Roach, bands like that, and Slipknot.
My parents, we listened to a lot of Paramore in the car growing up. And then when I got older, I was a percussionist in marching band, and I did that for like 8 years. So music's been a part of my life for a really long time.
Family. For generations, at least 4 or 5 back, there's always been a family member in there doing something musical, whether it's just vocals in a quartet, or if it's my dad playing bass in several bands. It's in the blood. I can't escape it.
Oh man, I think it's just in my blood. Yes, I've always been into music, always, and even over the years, every once in a while, I'll try to quit. It don't happen. I got to keep going.
Music. My dad was in a band, so he was a drummer, so I kind of just following in the same footsteps, I would say.
I was introduced to MTV and also was introduced to Nirvana and Soundgarden and the Smashing Pumpkins, and I could relate to the anger in Nirvana's music, and I was like, hey, I want to do that. I want to play music. So
it's silly, but playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, I just love the soundtrack, and it got me kind of in sort of the punk direction, and then slowly finding the kind of music that I really do enjoy. A little more progressive and stuff.
Probably my dad. And then what got me playing music was my buddy Jared Chastain.
In 7th grade, a kid in my class, he came with a guitar, and my teacher had a guitar too, and I decided, I want to do that.
Grew up around music, always wanted to play something, and just kind of made it.
Back in the late 80s, as a young kid, probably was listening to, or exposed to music I shouldn't have been listening to. But it really jumped out at me. Bands like glam rock bands like Motley Crue and stuff, Tommy Lee just blew me away from a really early age. And I thought I wanted to play drums, and did so. And then the grunge movement hit, and I loved Alice in Chains. It turned out I had a pretty good ear and could match the harmonies and stuff. And, got into band and choir in school, and that turned into scholarships for college, and I just kept listening to more and more rock music, and my tastes and skills kind of evolved, and it's just took off from there.
I started drumming for the worship band and played every service every Sunday, and so I had lots of time to grow and had lots of experience before I started in the band. My grandpa always talked about playing drums whenever he was my age, and he played in various different bands and was in the music scene a lot, and so I always had that in my mind growing up, that that's also what I wanted to do, and so here I am.
I first started singing in church as a young kid, and in school started out in band. My favorite band teacher left, so I decided to give choir a go. It kind of stuck, and still sing now.
Right on.
I've always been into music. It's like ever since I was listening to music, I've been into music. I don't know, I was just naturally attracted to it, I guess.
I guess just really my entire life, yeah. I've been playing music, so I feel like my entire life led up to right here.
Early on, I started playing violin and was involved with orchestra at school and kind of kept going with it. Played some stuff with St. Lucia Symphony, and violin turned into stand-up bass. Stand-up bass turned into bass guitar, and got my first band off the ground in high school.
As a kid, walking into the living room, my dad watching a Kiss live concert from the 70s, and I seen Ace Frehley up there playing guitar, and it was the coolest thing to like an 8-year-old, because he's up there dressed up in, is it outer space outfit and ripping on guitar, and I was like, I definitely have to do that. So when Christmas came along and the Sears catalog came through, they had a little 3/4 size harmony guitar and a little 10-watt practice amp, and I circled that thing like 500 times and wrote "Please, Please, Please" all over the page.
Duran. In second grade, I was gonna be their keyboard player, and then I heard the electric guitar, and it all changed.
When I was 13, I heard Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix for the first time, and I was hooked.
First of all, passing of a loved one, a lot of depression there, needed a way out. And secondly, I was really good at Guitar Hero and thought to myself, hey, I can play this really well. I might be able to play guitar. Yeah, no, found out soon after that it's nothing alike, but it just kind of stuck. I loved it.
My crazy ass cousins, we used to ride around, and I used to try to understand what in the hell they were doing. All I ever was a baseball player, and then the music just overpowered me at their houses and everywhere.
I've really been doing music since I was a little girl. I've always really enjoyed music. I've had a passion for it. I've been playing piano since I was like 8. I've been playing guitar since I was like 10. And growing up in the church, I always did music there. But I didn't really start performing solo until I was about 17. And that's when I really started getting more of a drive for my music career.
My parents and my uncle, they always listened to the metal genre and just hard rock, and started probably when I was like 8 or 9, started listening to music and carried on from there.
He got me into music. He made me play.